This is actually like a super clean Pomodoro timer. If I had a Pomodoro timer that was on a big screen like this next to me, this is actually a win. For this video, I'm excited to, for the first time, try ChatGPT. I had a comment that asked to do a video on this, and I haven't actually used it yet, and so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. I've seen a few people use it. Haven't looked into it much, but I've seen a ton of comments on it. There's a lot of talk about it. Will it end programmers' careers? Will it end lawyers' careers? Will it end all these things? Or is it just a tool to help us? And so I'm going to dive in. I'm going to come at it from the angle of a programmer who's learning how to code. Does it know how to do that? So I'm going to log in, try it out, and see if I can make something with it. I'm kind of curious to see how this goes, so let's dive in. I'm on OpenAI's website here, and this looks like their blog, and it says try ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, optimizing language models for dialogue. We've trained a model called ChatGPT, which interacts in a conversational way. Sounds pretty cool. The dialogue format makes it possible for ChatGPT to answer follow-up questions, admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises, and reject inappropriate requests. Cool. Let's give it a try. All right, I'm going to sign up. All right, so this is my first time logging in. Looks like I have a new chat button up here, upgrade to plus, dark mode. That looks nice. There's a Discord, frequently asked questions. Here's some examples. Explain quantum computing in simple terms. Got any creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday? How do I make an HTTP request? Oh, this is cool. It remembers what we've said earlier. Allows user to provide follow-up corrections, trained to decline inappropriate requests. Okay, cool. There's some limitations, it might give us wrong. Let's try something else. I'm making a video for YouTube channel. Any ideas for future videos? My videos are mainly about technology and programming. Cool. You know what? I'm just going to save this because that looks pretty cool. Thanks, those sound great. Can you tell me what React.js is? Wow, this is a lot. React has gained a lot of popularity in recent years and is now used by many large companies and organizations for building their web applications. That's cool. React is used by over 11 million developers worldwide, according to surveys and studies. Yeah, React is, if you are learning to code, I'd recommend React if you are interested in UI and front-end full-stack stuff. It's a great idea. Okay, I want to build an app in React. Okay, here's some general tips. Plan your app, set up your development environment, Visual Studio Code. Okay, cool, that's what we'll be using. Make sure Node is installed. I have it installed. Choose a project to set up. Write your components in React. The UI is built using components, which are small, reusable pieces of code. Work with data. To make your app dynamic, you'll need to work with data. This can include fetching data from an API, storing data in local state. Style your app. Once your components are working as expected, you can start styling them, test and debug, deploy. Wow. This is a lot of information. This is really cool. These are general steps to get started building an app with React, but the specific steps will depend on the specifics of your app. Okay, so if we go up to here, plan your app. Set up your development environment, choose a project setup. So plan your app. I'm thinking, I've heard a lot about Pomodoro timers. I actually use one, so they're really cool, but let's say I don't know what they are. What is a Pomodoro timer? That sounds great. That sounds like a great app idea. Can you help me build it in React? Stop. Okay. You can use a create React app. So it's saying you can do that. How can I use create React app to start a new app? Create command is a tool that sets up a new React project with a basic file. Install Node.js and npm. Okay, I already have those installed. Open the terminal. This is where you'll run the commands inside to create and run your app. Whoa, this is cool. It gives me a code snippet. All right. Way too much information, really good information. Let's start with the first, npm install global create React app. So this is interesting. This will install it globally on your system. We actually don't need to do that. So install create React app. To install create React app, run the following command. This is true. This would install it on your system, but the -g is a global command that installs in your system. We don't need to do that. Create a new app. npx, funny enough, you don't need this installed to run this command. So if we just run this command here, or copy code, let's try this. Let me open a terminal. I have a directory set up for my ChatGPT Pomodoro app, and I'm going to run their command that they gave me, which is npx create React app my app. Now instead of my app, let's call it my Pomo for short. Now you see how it made me, so it's already given me wrong information, which is fine. It warned me that it was going to do that ahead of time. It's already given me incorrect information, but if I go over to this page here, I actually didn't need to run this, right? And the command's already working. But this is correct. You need Node.js and npm. So this is cool, and it doesn't hurt to have this installed. But this command just lets you run npm commands without actually installing them first, which is pretty helpful. So it looks like this is going to take a little bit of time to download the create React app. So I'll just skip forward when this is done. Oh, looks like it failed. Let's try it one more time. I wonder if it failed because it wasn't installed and it had kind of like a large amount of data it needed to install, and so it just kind of crapped out. If I would have installed it with the global command, that may have worked better. Okay, great. So I have a React app that it just made for me, and it says I can go to npm start here. Let's do cd into my app and then start and see what happens. So I pasted it already, and then let's do ls to see what's in there. We have a readme, node modules, package.json, public and source. So let's do npm start. This should open a web browser after this server runs, this development server. Okay, so this is what it looks like after it runs. It tells me I can go to this localhost 3000. So if I open a web browser and go to localhost 3000, this is what I see here. Here we go, edit source. /app.js and save to reload. So that's super cool. Now change to the app directory, which I did, npm start. This will compile your React code and start a development server. Okay, so that's what it did. Okay, great. Great, I have the development server running. Okay, so you're gonna need a timer, and you're gonna need a start, stop, and reset button. How can I add a timer component to my app? Oh wow, look at this. Okay, they're using hooks, which is, you know, this looks like modern React here, which is really cool. Oh, okay, that was interesting. It said Python for a second. It's not Python. Wow, this is cool. Okay, so let's give this a try. So I'm going to paste this code. You can create a new component that will display the time remaining. Here's an example of how you might create a timer component. Okay, so we import React, use state, use effect. We're going to create this timer component. We're going to export a timer component. So if I copy this, I don't think it told me that I needed to create a new file. Let's ask, where should I put the timer component code? You can put the code for the timer component in a separate file, for example, timer.js, and then import it into your main component. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Stop. It's regenerating it. Okay. Can I do this in TypeScript? Can I do this in TypeScript? A lot of the cool kids are using TypeScript these days, so I want to see if I can do it in TypeScript. It says using TypeScript has a lot of advantages. Okay, so it's using an interface, functional component, interval ID, set interval. Okay, so it's actually generating the code again. And this time it added this interface, which lets me... Oh, okay. It's even telling me the differences. Okay, that's cool. And then it says the import's the same, so you can just still use that. All right, let's just try this and see what happens. So I need to open a web browser. So let me open VS. Actually, I can open code from here. All right, so this is the folder that Create React App created for me. And then it said I could create, let me go back. Where did it say I could put it? It said in a separate file. You can put the code for the timer component in a separate file called timer.js. I'm looking at this and I don't know where to put that file. If I open source, this is where it is, and so I know that's kind of where I do it. So I'm going to do timer.ts. I can't remember if Create React App automatically lets you do TypeScript, but let's give it a try. I've created the TypeScript code here. This is yelling at me. Cannot find name div. All right, ts. Okay, to make it simpler, because I'll have to install some other things, let's just do it as a JavaScript file. Just for the sake of this video, I'm curious to see how it would help me with TypeScript later, but let's give it a try. Let's try to do what it said and initially before I asked it to make it in TypeScript. Okay, and then this is the import code. So I've copied the import code, and I'm going to copy that into app.js, which is here. All right, I've imported my timer. I've exported a timer. Let's do npm start again to start my development server. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, it's set a 25-minute timer, and it's really tiny, unfortunately. Let me go back. Let's ask ChatGPT. The timer works great, but it's very small. Can I make it larger and centered? Yes, you can make the timer larger and centered by using CSS styles. You can add styles directly to the component, or you can use a CSS file and import. Okay, this is cool. Okay, so it's generating all the same code again, but it hopefully will give me some CSS. If you're not familiar with what CSS is it stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's just a way that you can add styles and formatting to websites. But since React uses web technology under the hood, we can style our code with this. So the first div of the timer, I'll just copy the style part. The first div of the timer, so let's go back to our timer. This div here adds a giant blob of HTML and CSS, or adds a giant blob of CSS inline, which isn't like the best, but look at that, that's beautiful. It works awesome. Okay, that's really cool. This is actually like a super clean Pomodoro timer. I actually really like it. I think if I had a Pomodoro timer that was on a big screen like this next to me, this is actually a win. The styles were inherited from React's Create React app. So it's using like a modern font in the black and white. So it actually looks really good already. The main thing I just need to add is buttons, so I could pause this, start and stop it. So let's see what we can do to make this a little bit more. Wow, that looks really great. Can I move the CSS to another file instead? Now I know that keeping your CSS in separate files is usually a better way to do things. So I'm gonna see if ChatGPT can help me move it into a different file and to see how it has me do it. Yes, you can move the CSS styles. This is a best practice, so it's cool. It's even saying, yeah, what you want to do is a best practice. So into a separate CSS file, timer.module.css. Oh wow, it even now has the TypeScript name. Oh, TSX, maybe that's what I screwed up. Oh, and then it has me add class name here. Perfect. Okay, so this is really cool. It gives me the TypeScript file, and I realized my mistake earlier is I didn't add the X. It's been a while since I've been working in React, so I've got to add the X as in JSX, TSX. So that's probably why div was giving me the red squiggly lines. So maybe I'll add this back, but it shows me how to import this, so import styles. And then down here, instead of that giant blob of CSS, it gives me this class name styles.timer. So I actually really like this, so I'm going to copy this, timer.module.css, and I'm going to create, it didn't tell me to do this, but I'm going to create a styles folder, and then I'm going to create this file, whoops, timer.styles.css. Timer.styles. Oh, I totally named it the wrong thing. That's so funny. All right, so timer.module.css I named completely wrong when I created the file. Let's see if that fixes it. Totally missed that. Okay, fifth time. Okay, perfect. So I have my CSS in another folder. It's in another file, so it's nice and organized. And I have a really nice font size in the center of my screen. I think I kind of like this. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to help me make it like a little bit bigger. Can I make the font size a little bit larger for the timer? You can adjust to whatever size you want. Re-import. Okay, let's go to that. Let's see, what do I have? Font size is 72 pixels, so I already have it really large. Let's do like 80. Let's do like 82 and see how that looks. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's do like 100 and just see. Okay, I like that. All right, that looks really good. Font's nice and big. Let's try to add a button to pause the timer. Now let's do a clear. Let's do clear and stop. That'll be a little more specific. Clear and stop. Can you help me add buttons for starting and stopping the timer? Based on our conversation, I should be able to just copy this. It looks like it lost the TypeScript. I don't think I told it I stopped using TypeScript, but let's find out. Let's see if this even works first. I'm pretty sure I lost some code in this. I'm gonna just paste this real quick, save it. All right, let's see what it does. Oh, it forgot that I put styles in a different folder. Because of that, I'm just gonna move this out because I keep breaking ChatGPT. So I'm just gonna delete this folder and see if my life gets simpler. Made it a little bit too complex. Okay, here we go, start. Stop. Okay, cool. So I've lost the timer, calculating the timer starting stop functionality, but I do have a start and stop button. They don't work. It's cool that they like kind of show active and not. I think I'd like these buttons at the bottom. So let's do a little more styling. Can I move the buttons to below the timer? Looks like it's gonna give me all the code again. Okay, it gave me a styles.buttons. It's giving me some more CSS. It gave me a style.buttons code, so I'm gonna add that in there. Into my timer file, so instead of this, paste that. Styles.buttons I'm still missing, so let's grab buttons. It's interesting how this changed. If I take that, I'm gonna lose something. I'll just copy it and see what I lose. So paste. So I lost it being centered in the middle, which I liked, but these are definitely below it now. I think I can just delete this. There we go. Oh, but I lost my, so this column, flex direction column, is how it helped me put them below. Okay, so now put them below. Align items center. I would do this differently, so that these weren't so far away. But yeah, you know what? Let's go back. Okay, so now it's not as big, and I lost the middle. It's not centered in the middle anymore. That looks good, but it's not centered in the middle of the screen anymore. Okay. So now it's going to give me some CSS to put a parent div. Actually, I'll just copy this whole thing. To put a parent div around. It wants me to wrap my app file here. It wants me to wrap the timers div with some styles. And so this is a new file in your app.module.css file. So to make my life easier, I'm going to put them on the same page. What I realize is this is a timer.module and app.css. Okay, this is kind of hacky, but what I could do is take this, just because they're having me import it in a different way, and I could add a app.module.css, put that in there, and then import here app.module.css and styles.container. There we go. Oh, this shouldn't be in quotes. Okay, there we go. Now it's not centered. Yeah, this is not, like, this is actually harder than me doing it myself, trying to use ChatGPT. So, not as easy as I would expect. But definitely could be helpful. Like if I was trying to learn a new programming language or something, like I could read the explanations and be like, oh, okay, I got a good idea. But it's kind of interesting because I could also go to the documentation for whatever I'm trying to learn and get like specific from the creator information. So it's kind of a trade-off, but it's interesting. Still haven't gotten the buttons, and I think I've been going at it for about an hour. So this would probably take me 5 or 10 minutes if I was doing it on my own. So it's definitely taking longer. I'm also trying to like show how to do it, but just to give an idea. Oh, I lost the styles on this because I accidentally changed this earlier. What was this one called again? Timer? Oh, there we go. That's why I lost my center because I accidentally renamed it. So I've added the styles back. This looks really good. They told me I could change the margin so that it would be close together. I actually like it with, I don't even want margin. Pretty close together. Okay, that's looking good. The only other downside is I lost my large font, so I'm gonna do the timer module here. I'm gonna go back to font size, 100 pixels. Okay, now that's way large. 72. And this spacing here got really crazy. This, what is this? Margin. So margin bottom equals 0. Let's see if that does it. What element is this? Heading H1. H1. Timer H1. So H1. There we go. Okay, well that's definitely better. It's larger than I expected it to be. So that's 50. Now remember, I lost my timer, so the timer stopped working after adding the buttons. So they've added to the handle start button, they've added, let's give this a try. Okay, so it goes up and stop does not work. So interesting. Okay, well, I was expecting to get a little bit more done. Hope this wasn't too anticlimactic that we didn't have a working one. Oh, and there's some weird bug where the set timeout is going wonky right now. All right, so as you can see from this, using ChatGPT to create a React app, Pomodoro React app, and not trying to help it very much, I still needed to use some of my knowledge and my experience to fix things, to read some of the confusing terminology and the specific React technological terms and all of these different things. I still needed to know what localhost was and developer environments and all of these different things. So let me know if you enjoyed this. Leave some comments, questions, anything you'd like to see like this or different. Let me know. Thanks for watching.